Hello and welcome to True North EV. It's been a little while since I recorded last. That's actually due to me being away on holidays. And that's actually what I'm gonna talk about today. Um, so, as some of you may know, I'm out of Manitoba. That's where I live. But I do have family in Alberta. So that is where we headed to. Both me and my wife have family out there. So we headed out there for a couple weeks. But so to kind of get to some of the numbers, we drove one day from Winnipeg to Alberta. That was just over 1,200, almost 1,300 kilometers there. And on the way there, it cost us a whopping $51 to charge at the Petro-Canada locations. That was only places that paid or charged along the way. And then, while we stayed in Alberta, I didn't mark it down. We kept track of how much power we used while we were out there, and we covered those costs. And then on the way back, we stopped again, Regina, Whitewood, Brandon, all Petro-Canada locations. But on the way back, we didn't need as much charge. It wasn't as critical. I'm not sure if I just got a lot more comfortable with driving or how it was. And I also went a lot slower on the way back. And when I drafted semis or campers or whatever, if I can find a vehicle to draft, I definitely did that. So on the way back, so versus the $51 it cost us to go there, it cost us $32 to come back. Altogether, we were looking at, I made sure to pay for electricity while I was out there. So we did a total of 4,033 kilometers of driving. So that's there, back, and where the in-laws live in one town, and my family all lives in another town. So whenever we wanted to go visit my family, it was minimum 108 kilometers we had to go. So there and back type deal. So we did a total of 4,033 kilometers on this trip for a whopping 147.73, which works out to be essentially 3.5 cents a kilometer. It's 0.036. So I guess round up to call it 4 cents a kilometer. But while I was there, even the charging and all that, so I guess I'll start kind of from the beginning. Going out to Alberta, so I took Highway 1, which is super easy to do because of all the Petro-Canada locations. So made that trip really easy. And then I headed up from north from Regina to Saskatoon. I want to give a shout out to Audi of Saskatoon. They have a great charger there and very helpful guys. So we charged up at the Audi of Saskatoon dealership. They have a CCS charger there. And I went and talked to the Regina Hyundai dealership. That's just like 2 dealerships over. And because they have a whole collection of, or are trying to get, like a essentially collection of EVs, used EVs. They also want new ones, but they're very open to selling electrics. They're very pro EVs. I then tried to sweet talk them into getting a CCS charger there, but Saskatoon is on the list to get a Canadian Tire CCS charger there, so that will be fantastic. But nice little walking areas. Like all these charging stops, we basically got out, walked around, got breakfast at the first stop. We also left here. We left home at about 3 in the morning, 2:30 in the morning, between 2:30 and 3. It was early in the morning. So when we got to our first stop, obviously grab breakfast, walk around, relax while we're waiting for the car to charge up. And same with the other two stops. And so in Saskatoon, we actually took, because the Audi dealership is a fast charger, but it's not as fast as the Petro-Canada chargers. So we actually had time to go wander around. We went to a few different stores. Just took a nice long walk, essentially. And what's nice, though, is this was a longer drive than normal, but it was way more relaxing because of these longer stops with the walking around and all that. We also needed to charge up to 100% in Saskatoon because that was the last fast charger available. And from there, we had to use 2 PV Mart stops to just charge up that little bit extra. But I tried using a better route planner. I found it, I don't know, not super user friendly. I kind of get why they want all that information. Like they want the total weight of your luggage plus extra people, and your your kilometers per kilowatt, which I understand it's for them to make the best guess and all that, but my kilometers per kilowatt would fluctuate quite a bit sometimes, and I didn't want to weigh all my luggage and everybody coming. So it was me, my wife, and 3 kids. So I didn't want to weigh everybody and all that. So it was just the best guesstimate type deal for even the kilometers per kilowatt. So it had us coming in to one of our stops with 14%. So I didn't want to run it that close because from there I needed at least 60% to get to our final destination. And that all I had available was a level 2 charger from PV Mart. So that is when I really figured out this whole drafting deal. So on the Kona, it has smart cruise control, which you can set for your distance away from the vehicle in front of you. So I found a semi heading in the general direction and followed behind it. So my 14%, I was able to actually get to that stop with 44. I think 44, between 45 and 50, we'll call it, percent, which then it was enough that I can actually plug in at the PV Mart. We then went and grabbed supper, and I think we charged up for an hour or so. But just with finding the vehicles to essentially draft, it allowed that our range to stay up, so I didn't need as much charge, and so it was good because I was initially planning on sitting at that charger for like 4 hours, where I only had to sit at it for an hour. So it was still 20 and a half hours worth of driving, charging type deal. And then I just brought an adapter to use at my in-laws' house. I'm still catching up from our drive back, so at my in-laws' house, my father-in-law actually has a plug that he normally uses for a shop heater, a portable shop heater that he has. But I noticed my uncle, who has a mechanic shop, he has the same plug for his air compressor. So I brought the adapter and I just plugged in their garage when I needed it. So I was plugging in maybe every 2-3 days, depending on how much running around we did. Because it was 4,000 kilometers pretty much of all highway driving. It was nice that way, but it really sucked then coming into a city, because when you're doing between 100 and 115 kilometers an hour, and then you have to slow down to sometimes 50-60 kilometers, it seems really slow at that point. But so on the way back, we again got off to an early start in the morning, and were able to, actually, I didn't even, because I was just slow charging it in my father-in-law's place, and we left so early, I actually didn't even get a full charge. I think I was at 95%. And so we, again, went the same way, but it was a lot easier going back because I had the full charge, and, with the stop with breakfast and all that, first stop was a half hour at the PV Mart. Second stop was 2 hours at the next PV Mart, but it wasn't as bad because it was right at breakfast time. We got some breakfast, had a nice walk, like on the way there. So I have a Fitbit. We did all the walking around. I did 15,000 steps. So got my steps in, got car charged. Awesome. On the way back, I don't recall if I looked at my watch. But it was about the same, probably a little less maybe, because I was getting used to sleeping a little longer on holidays. And then with having to wake up early, I was able to at least pack the car beforehand, like the night before. Then we just parked it in the garage. But so it was basically just get up and go. But we still got up at 2:30, and we were driving away at 3:10 in the morning. And so with that, 2 stops, then we went to the Audi dealership again, and then super easy from there on out. With that being said, once Canadian Tire actually starts putting their CCS Chatamo chargers up, it's going to make this whole trip a whole lot easier, because one of the stops that I went to a PV Mart, there will be, or is scheduled to be, a Canadian Tire fast charger there. So then I can actually avoid the next stop and actually get to my destination all using fast chargers, which would be fantastic. It would actually, probably with that, I'd be able to go a little quicker, and I could get, maybe cut down 3 hours off of our trip. But yeah, and on the trip, I actually went and talked to, I'll give a shout out to the Bonnyville Best Western Hotel. They're on PlugShare. It's Bonnyville, Alberta. I kind of just did a quick search of chargers, and I looked at their charger. There was some interesting comments, So I just went there and talked to the general manager there to just clarify some essentially confusion. Um, and it was nice hearing from her. They do want to help with the electric vehicles, but they're not sure how to, I guess, bridge that communication between them and the EV drivers. Because what they like to do is, if they're getting busy with customers and all that, like if they know with their bookings that there's going to be quite a few customers, they'll actually park either their customer shuttle or one of the employees will actually park blocking the actual charger, which if you drove up and you weren't totally sure what was going on, it just looks like somebody iced the spot, right? Where it is, but it isn't. They're intentionally blocking it so that if you actually need a charge, they can then just move the vehicle and you could charge up no issues, right? And I do like what they're doing. They actually have the charger turned off, and then you go talk to the receptionist to get the vehicle moved that's in the spot. And they said even if it's, I guess, all their customers, clients, I'm not sure what you call a guests, all their guests check their vehicles in, so they have everybody's plate number. So if a guest actually does block the spot, they can tell which guest it is and have them move their vehicle. But with that, so the chargers are turned off, so you do have to go see the receptionist or the front desk to have the chargers turned on and to have any vehicles moved. But they also do it by any sort of donation, cash, Visa, whatever. They had two different groups that they give to. So there's the SPCA, and I hope I don't get it wrong. I believe it was called Intellect Alberta, I believe. But it was great to see. It's one of those things, I have no issue giving money for a good cause. It's also, the hotel is covering the cost of the power anyways, so why not give a little bit, right? Especially to worthwhile causes. And so it was nice seeing that. I also was able to discuss with her roughly, because they weren't even sure how much it costs to charge up. They just take that cost without worrying about it. And we talked about they want to get a second EV charger at that location, which is great to see because it's kind of northern Alberta, but right in the heart of oil country, right? So it's nice to see that they're seeing that much demand for it, that they're looking at a second one. And to go along with the whole oil country and all that, so again, my uncle that has the mechanic shop, I was able to show him my Hyundai Kona Electric, and I was first off the very first full electric that ever was in his parking lot, and we were able to talk. He was very weirded out by the motor and the no sound and all that, and he thought it was the greatest thing. He was taking pictures and sending it to his brother in BC. He called over the neighbors from next door, which, in discussion with them, one of their girlfriends is actually looking at getting a Tesla Model 3. So electric vehicles are becoming a lot more popular, especially with the lack of maintenance and the instant heating up in the winter. It's becoming a lot more popular and a lot more reliable than these gas vehicles. But yeah, I was able to have a few of my family members actually get out and drive my Kona, and they loved it. Especially my mom. She's never actually driven any electric. So she was very weirded out by the no sound, and she also has older vehicles, so she was also weirded out by the whole putting your foot on the brake and pushing a button to start it. She just wanted to stick a key in the spot ignition and start it up. And so it was all very weird for her, but letting her actually use the regen and not having to use the brakes, it was just something very different from all of her normal driving. And she loved it. She would love to have the Kona, so it's maybe we can start figuring out like in the 5 years when I maybe get the Cybertruck. Yeah, if there's a way that I can give this to my mom, but it would be then having to figure out charging for her, but that's a whole nother issue. But just the openness, like I never actually had one person say anything negative about my electric vehicle. Actually, I shouldn't say that, because my cousin said it would probably beat his car, but it had no sound. Where his vehicle has the whole loud exhaust and all that, and that's what he likes. But he did say the Kona would probably beat it. So I guess that was the only negative thing, that it doesn't make a sound. I did inform him that there is now aftermarket companies out there that install the speaker connected up to your speedometer or something. They connect it, and so you could change the exhaust to, or you can make that exhaust note and have that exhaust sound if you really want it. I'd rather just be silent, but yeah, 4,000 kilometers, no issues. The only issue I actually had during this whole time was today we had a couple errands to do, and I had my keys and my wife's purse I was carrying for her, and I tried to open the door and it wouldn't work. It finally opened, and then after a few attempts and then getting in, it wouldn't see the key. The car wouldn't see the key. So actually it then, I guess it goes by, it thinks the key fob is dead, and so it wants you to use the key fob to actually use it to push the start button, which I guess maybe there's some sort of RFID also integrated into the key so that it doesn't need power. But it did start, it did go. I took it to the dealership because I just assumed that it was the battery on the key fob going dead. And I was actually informed, so on my key fobs, I had a silicone cover on them, just because the keys that Hyundai gives you, they're quite shiny, high gloss type deal, so I didn't want them to get all scratched up. So I have a silicone cover for it. So I was informed that that silicone cover sometimes will interfere with it. But the other thing was, because I had the two keys pretty close to each other and trying to do it, the car, and it wasn't just because it's an electric. The salesman or service manager actually said it was a whole, like all their fob vehicles, all the vehicles that need a key fob that don't use an actual key, have the same issue. That if the keys are, I guess, close to each other, it interferes with each other, like talking to the vehicle, and so the vehicle gets confused and essentially struggles to do whatever, whether it's unlocking, whether it's starting, it struggles to do that. So that was some interesting information there, because we've had the vehicle for going on almost a year, and we've never had anything like that happen. When me and my wife ride in the vehicle together, we have each our keys with us type deal. So it's not the first time we've had the keys with us. It's just the first time it's done that. So yeah, we're getting close to the time that I like to shut it down at. So I guess one big pointer I would give to everybody that I learned on my trip was drafting is fantastic. You gain a whole lot of range from it. Going slower is also very good, very useful, especially if you're going long distances between high-speed chargers, level 3 chargers. The other big thing that I want to take away is if we go to these stops that we think the spots are being iced, we should go see the receptionist or front desk or whatever, the person in charge of that location, and see if maybe they're intentionally blocking it for their customers. But like when I went and talked to the Best Western, the lady didn't even know about PlugShare. Didn't know. It was unsure of how to effectively communicate to the customers that that vehicle is meant to be there as a way to help us out, right? To make sure that we can actually plug in if we need to, right? So it's just, we need to start learning to talk to these people and ask them if it is blocked. Is it intentionally blocked? Can I get the vehicle moved, right? Because maybe they're all also looking for a donation to whatever cause, right? For their power, right? You're not paying for the power, you're just donating to a cause. So I'm going to wrap it up with that, and hopefully I will get it back into a better rhythm. I've been working for the last few hours, talking to dealerships, getting my list going of available full electrics and plug-in hybrids that are in Winnipeg, getting that list going. So that list is pretty much up to date as of today. And there's a couple of dealerships I'm just waiting to hear back from. But the list is, call it 95% up to date. And just for anyone wondering, I am doing a Google Meet chat this Saturday. What is that? August 22nd. At 7 p.m. Central Standard Time. The info and the link to it is actually on the True North EV Twitter page, True North EV Facebook page. And if you can't find that, I'm going to stick it in the show notes also. So 7 p.m. Central Time on Saturday the 22nd. And we're just going to be chatting about all things electric, really. If somebody wants to chat about the electric skateboards, electric bikes, electric vehicles coming up, what's been there, conversions, all that jazz. I'll have a set thing that I want to talk about, but it will be very open to any input if you guys want to talk about certain EVs coming up or certain EVs out, questions you might have about maybe your particular EV, feel free to ask. But yeah, so if you guys do want to contact me about whether the meetup or whatnot, you can email me at truenorthev@gmail.com. You can find me on Facebook and Twitter at truenorthev. And yeah, you can reach out on Anchor. There is a phone number you could even leave a message for me at. Yeah, so I'm going to leave it at that. I'll talk to you guys on Saturday, whoever is available to come chat. And we're gonna see how interested everybody is, and maybe this is a once a month type meeting. And yeah, thanks for listening, and we'll talk to you guys later. Bye.